platform fighter genre is very unique compared to a lot of other genres of video games, and this is because it really hasn't been around for all that long in comparison to a lot of other genres. When we take a look back at video games in general, they definitely had some humble beginnings, but pretty quickly technology evolved, which allowed consoles to evolve and ultimately allowed games to evolve. But I'm not here to give you guys the rundown of the history of video games. You clicked on this video because you're interested on what I have to say about platform fighters, right? Well, first let me go ahead and explain quickly what a platform fighter is, because I know not everybody knows what that is, and then I promise I'm done with all that historical stuff about Pong. Platform fighters got their name because of the combination between fighting games and your typical platformer games that were really popularized in the 80s and the 90s. Unlike your traditional fighting game like Street Fighter, platform fighters offered a unique way to fight by allowing you to have movements similar to a platformer game. And when you think of a game like this, the first game that probably comes to mind is Smash. And the reason for that is because Smash basically invented this entire genre. Unlike a traditional fighting game, you had no health bar, and instead your goal was to rack up percentage on opponents or knock them off the stage. You had a wide variety of stages that each offered something completely different. Every character was recognizable from your favorite Nintendo games, and they each came with a completely different moveset, playstyle, and weight class. And to cap it off, you had the ability to play with items, which created all kinds of chaos.
I love how he does 3 fan F smashes before, just for good luck in this. Yeah. Ooh, come on. Yo, it picks it up, throws it, short shot! Yo!
So what exactly is the problem behind platform fighters? Well, before we talk about problems, I want to give you guys some solutions, and that's where this video's sponsor, Into the AM, comes in clutch. If you're like me and have a hard time finding clothes that are comfortable, stylish, and affordable, then look no further than what Into the AM has to offer, because not only are the designs fresh, they're also comfortable, and right now from March 15th through March 18th, they're having a massive clearance sale. And these discounts will be ranging anywhere between 30 and 80% off of the clothes. This is the best time to give it a shot if you're in the market for some new clothes, and these designs are sure to put you a platform above all other shirts. So whether you're looking for clothes to match with your animals or just curious on what the hype is about, you can click on the link I have pinned in the comments or use the code Tuba at checkout to receive 10% off your order. And remember that clearance sale lasts until March 18th, so definitely check it out before then to get some crazy good sales. And now back to the video. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and just be blunt about what I think the problem is with platform fighters, because I really want to talk about how it affects the newest and biggest platform fighter, MultiVersus, and in order to do that, I kind of have to talk a little bit about the genre first. The problem with platform fighters is that a lot of people don't even see it as its own genre. I know that sounds crazy, but it's the truth. Every time a platform fighter releases, it's immediately compared to Smash, and by the vast majority of people, it's seen as a Smash clone, a Smash killer, or even a Smash knockoff. It's kind of like in the world of sports where Michael Jordan was labeled as the best player of all time, and since then every single NBA player that has been even in the ballpark of discussion as the best player of all time is immediately compared to him. There's a lot of people that think Jordan is the best player of all time, and there's a lot of people that think LeBron is the best player of all time. And no matter what, you're really not going to change anybody's mind on the topic. And in this case, ironically, Smash is seen as the Michael Jordan of this genre, while games like MultiVersus are kind of seen as the LeBron James. Maybe that's why they added him to the game. There's a large majority of people that say that Smash is the greatest platform fighter of all time and nothing can compare, which makes all other games awful knockoffs. But there's also a large amount of people that understand that there could be multiple good platform fighters that each do their own separate things very well. Obviously, every platform fighter is going to be similar in some way because it's the same genre. I've always thought that the argument that every platform fighter is a clone is such a dumb argument because it's literally the same genre. That's like saying every horror movie is a knockoff of Scream because they're all scary. It makes no sense. Now, I'm not saying that there are no Smash clones out there, because there's definitely a few out there, but the majority of the bigger platform fighters offer something unique to set themselves apart from the competition. I'm sure you all know the classic game PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale that completely changed the way that we take stocks. Instead of a game like Smash, you have to fill up a meter for certain attacks that were the only way to take stocks. And then there's games like Brawlhalla, Rivals of Aether, Nickelodeon All-Stars. Each of these brought something unique to the genre, and yet there's still a ton of people that will still label each of these games as a Smash clone. But that leads me to the main point that I wanted to make in this video, and that is, what can MultiVersus do moving forward to make sure that it kind of sets itself apart from a game like Smash? Well, first you've got to understand how big of a game MultiVersus really was when it first launched in 2022. The game first dropped around May of 2022 in early access, where a limited amount of people were able to play the game. And pretty much right from the start, it captured the attention of millions of people thanks to some creators that later fell off who were able to popularize it. People were hyped to play this game because it was available on most consoles, it was cross-platform, the gameplay looked unique, it was free to play, and it featured a ton of characters from all kinds of universes. A couple months later, the open beta dropped, and MultiVersus had the biggest launch of any fighting game, not just any platform fighter, any fighting game on Steam. And within 1 month, the game already had 10 million players, and that number doubled by August. To put that in perspective, Smash Ultimate sold 32 million copies within its first 5 years, and MultiVersus hit that 20 million number in 2 months. It was the first platform fighter that really had a chance to be that Smash killer. It was free to play, available everywhere, featured more famous characters than Smash like Superman and Batman, and it had better online play. So if a game had all those things, what exactly happened? Well, I'll give you the quick rundown. It all started with announcing the most hyped up characters before the game even launched instead of saving them for later on when, the player base kind of died down a little bit. That combined with some poor marketing decisions, and combining that with delaying updates and character drops because they couldn't get them finished in time. And also the game had crazy bugs and glitches throughout the first few months of the game, and it also took months and months to add basic features like a ranked mode or a decent custom lobby or spectator modes. All those things didn't really help. It also doesn't help that we live in an era where if something goes wrong with the game, people are immediately ready to move on to the next game, and especially when we're talking about a free-to-play game. We've seen it time and time with different games where if they don't adapt right away, then people just move on to the next thing and they never gain that fan base back. Now, I'll be the first to admit that the way MultiVersus was handled during the open beta was not the best, but I also can't entirely fault the team behind the game. I'm sure that they knew the game would be big, but I don't think anyone expected for this game to be that big. And it's very clear that the team behind the game did not have that infrastructure needed to handle that many people. It was clear that something had to change in order for this game to have any chance of success in the future. And with how many people had quit the game and entirely moved on, there was only one logical solution moving forward with this game. And despite all the backlash it would get, it was the only thing that made sense, and that was to shut the game down. So let's discuss what MultiVersus needs to do with this second chance moving forward. Alright, so this week we finally got a little bit of news about that MultiVersus relaunch. I'm kind of obviously doing this a few days after we got this, but I want to talk a little bit about this trailer that they dropped, the whole discussion with Tony. It's like a little, 3-minute video. It's not much. Kind of like, what I think they need to do moving forward and how this game can really thrive with a game like Smash, in its own kind of separate entity, even though they're both platform fighters. So I kind of want to talk about that a little bit here. Okay, so right off the bat, first things first, it's good to see Tony. This guy has gotten so much backlash, even though he's been he's been like a big figurehead in the community. He's been very receptive to feedback. He's been very communicative, I feel like, with people. So it's good to see him back and, talking to the people. It's a very good thing to see for the game. Obviously, it's good to see things like this right here, a new concept art for a new stage, and it's also kind of hinting towards the Powerpuff Girls or some kind of character that we're going to get from that universe, maybe Mojo Jojo, who knows. And then immediately after we have Dexter's Lab, same thing. Also, shout out to all the people that thought that Marvin the Martian is a new character because he was the last character added, and by that point most people had already quit the game, so some people thought this was a new character drop right here, so shout outs to that as well. Also really good to see that it's a whole new engine and the game's gonna look way better. That's already a step up. That's something to kind of set itself apart from the open beta, which is really nice. And it's also good to see that some characters are going to get some movesets reworked a little bit, that the dash attack animations are a little bit different as well. So these are all like subtle little changes that are kind of nice to see. And of course the big one is that we actually have a launch date, and that is the fact that this game will be releasing again on May 28th, which is pretty close to the near future. And they also announced that we're going to be getting some more updates pretty soon, so that's all really good stuff. Now I'm a little bit mixed on how this trailer was kind of presented to us. I fully expected for them to announce a character for us. The fact that they didn't, it worries me just a little bit. But I also think that it can be a good thing. It can be one of two things, and I can see both sides of it. A big issue that I had when this game first launched was the fact that they announced characters like LeBron James before the beta even dropped. And then later on, they gave us characters like Gizmo, right? Like, I feel like the target audience for a game like this, right, is like, younger people for the most part. Teenagers or whatever. And I feel like a character like Gizmo, a character like Stripe, these are not characters that people were really excited for, right? Like, I'm pretty sure more people were hyped for a character like LeBron James. So to me, it didn't really make sense to announce your most hyped characters before the game even launched, right? And then later on, when the player base is kind of dying off, you announce these characters that nobody really cares about, you know what I mean? So that's kind of a problem that I kind of had. I felt like that really didn't help the game necessarily. So the fact that they're not announcing characters right away, it kind of leads me to believe that they're saving them to kind of build up the hype. But on the other side of that, it worries me a little bit because it's like I feel like taking time off from the game, shutting it down, all that kind of stuff. I feel like to come back, you need like a strong roster. You need like a bunch of new stuff that are gonna bring people back in. And it kind of worries me that like maybe they're just adding a couple characters for the launch. You know what I mean? Obviously, they're gonna add characters throughout time, but I'm kind of worried that there's not gonna be enough at the start of the launch to really like bring people back, I mean, that being said though, they did give us a couple teasers to Powerpuff Girls, to Dexter's Lab. We got some Animaniac stuff in the background. There's a few little hidden Easter eggs here. Overall, the characters look a lot more crisp, right? Like the game looks a lot better. It's kind of the small stuff is what they're giving us right now. So I'm really hoping that moving forward until we get to May, I'm really hoping that they kind of announce characters or just different features, just kind of build up that hype the right way, you know what I mean? The other thing that I didn't really mention is the fact that they announced like a PvE mode, like a player versus environment mode, just a whole different game mode in general, and I think that's really good. I think that's what this game is going to need. I think one of the big things that a lot of people had issues with was the fact that it kind of became stale after a while, right? There was no ranked mode. By the time they added ranked, everybody stopped playing anyways. But there wasn't a whole lot to do besides, just play online, and sometimes it was buggy, things like that. So I think if this game offers a lot of kind of extra stuff, right? Like a game like Smash has things like classic mode and all that, but like it's really not that crazy, right? I think if this game can, add certain things or certain game modes that are just completely unique to MultiVersus, I think that will really help this game thrive a lot because, again, this is the first platform fighter to really go mainstream, I would say. Obviously, Smash is its own thing, right? But this is the game that is available on pretty much all platforms, and it really introduced a lot of people to the genre because, previously, if you didn't have a Nintendo console, you probably were not playing platform fighters, let's be honest. So I feel like this is a game that really brought a lot of people into the genre, and I think if they add things to really set themselves apart from a game like Smash, like different modes, like a PvE mode or just different things like that, I think that could really make this game thrive. And there's a bunch of ways they can do this, right? Like we have so many different characters from different universes, make kind of like a story mode for each character or something. I don't know, there's so many different ways they can do it, you know what I mean? But I think that's what this game really needs, and I think leading up to this launch, they really need to kind of show that off a little bit. Because I mean, the thing about MultiVersus is the core gameplay, it's there, right? It's just the execution, right? It's the execution, it's the marketing of this game that has like been kind of not the best, right? Like that's kind of, those are kind of the problems with this game, I feel like. But like the actual core gameplay is really good in my opinion. The other good thing is that they did confirm that if you bought anything during the beta, that you will get it back in the full game. I feel like they didn't really like address this too much in the trailer, which kind of sucks, but I mean, it's right here on the website for people that take 5 seconds to do the research. But I mean, yeah, like it's kind of hard to say like how MultiVersus is gonna do when it comes back. Obviously, I don't think it's gonna be anywhere near as big as it was at first, but I do think that if they take the right steps, they market this game correctly, and they really give people what they want, I think this game has a chance to at least coincide with a game like Smash and just be successful moving forward. Again, the hard part of MultiVersus here is the fact that, they kind of screwed up a little bit, by having to shut the whole game down. So they really have to capture people's attention like from the start, right? So if it's a bad launch in May, I don't think this game is gonna do well moving forward. But if they can successfully launch in May and really keep it up and, schedule out character releases in an order that makes sense, I really think this game has a chance to do really well moving forward. But yeah, I just wanted to give my thoughts a little bit about MultiVersus, about platform fighters in general, and why I think that a lot of people kind of unfairly compare them together. And again, I really hope that MultiVersus, does well moving forward. It has done a lot for my channel and my TikTok and all that kind of stuff. But aside from that, it was just a really fun game that I enjoyed playing. And I always wanted to host my own tournaments and do things like that, but it wasn't like, it wasn't very, what's the word I'm looking for? Capable, I guess? I don't know if that's the right word. It was kind of just hard to set it up with the beta just because it was unreliable. There we go. Unreliable, that's the word I'm looking for. But go ahead and let me know in the comments if there's any platform fighters that you enjoy that are not Smash or MultiVersus. There's games like PlayStation All-Stars. I used to love that game as a kid. So I'm a big fan of platform fighters in general, and there's a ton of them out there now. And again, if you want some fresh shirts, make sure you check out Into the AM. The link will be in the comments below, and you can use the code Tuba for 10% off. And you can check out that clearance sale that's going on until March 18th. I know I'm hyped for MultiVersus to come back. I hope you guys are as well. And if you are, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because when that game drops, I will be grinding that game just like I used to in the past. Hope you all have a fantastic day. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll catch you all later.